谷業部参上した。好機と見える。
What's up, man? Hello.
我が最地をお見せしよう。私も共に。
What's up, guys? Hello. How's it going? Got some exciting stuff happening tomorrow morning. One of which I've already uploaded. I already uploaded the overview for Kiborg, but it is under embargo until 7. Should probably set it as a premiere, but I don't know if I'll be up. Maybe I'll do that. We'll think about it. Yeah, I'll be playing that in the morning, and then waiting for Towerborne to drop. I posted some clips in my Discord. The update looks pretty awesome. And then Astral Ascent is right after that, actually. Astral Ascent is immediately after. The 30th is when that comes out. So lots of cool stuff going on. Probably do a run or two of this and then play something else. Oh, perfect. Perfect. That's what you like to see. The best possible time you can get that treasure. After the first boss, guarantees you're getting double damage. I don't know if I care about building around the depths, because that other run I did earlier, I just keep using that one to farm. Luckily, you can use it more than once. Apparently somebody got to the end of it. A Japanese player got to the end. It ends at 99, and they said that the rewards aren't worth it. I'm like, yeah, I kind of could already tell that. That was already blatantly obvious. Painfully obvious. They're like, yeah, it's not worth doing. Yeah, exactly, that's the problem. That's the exact problem. Especially the time it takes. The time to reward efforts. Time to effort reward ratio is really bad. Yeah, there's that thread in my Discord from somebody that played for 100 hours, and I completely agree with it. This game has a good foundation, they just don't know how to add on to it properly. I can understand having another difficulty, you know, if you could become like permanently stronger, it would be worth it. But you can't. That's the problem. I would just say torch the books altogether, or keep the books and have some other kind of sync for it. Like, you know, like 10,000 of them gives you like 5% attack or something. That'd be such an easy way to make it more worth doing. But it's a lot of effort for nothing, especially because you can only take 5 back. That's like the stupidest thing. You can only take 5 of them back. At the end of that run earlier, a couple hours ago in the afternoon, I had like 20 of them. You can't even keep all of them. Feels like a really really lame way of trying to make sure that there's a permanent meta currency sync. But it's not at all interesting. You shouldn't be limited by how many you can take, especially when a run can go over an hour. Hey, like I said, they don't know how to add on to this game in any way. They know how to add stuff that doesn't work. That's what they know how to do. To tell that they had some really good ideas. It's actually pretty original to take like a OP character, and instead of it being like a curb stomp, it's like actually you strip your character down to no power. It's a really cool idea. It's just poorly executed. You don't get enough of a like tangible reward for doing it. If that run had gone on any longer, it wouldn't have mattered. You know, normally I get pretty easily frustrated. You notice I wasn't frustrated at all. I was glad it was over. I couldn't have carried any of that stuff back anyway. Hopefully they're more receptive to feedback. Next update will be better. I'm not doing a hard mode where they just give everything an extra digit of stats. Especially when there's no reason to do it. They don't even give you a reason to do it. I feel like there should be a reason to do stuff like that. I know there's a lot of other people like me that are like that. Won't do stat bloat challenges in games. I just won't bother. Unless there's some way to keep up with the stat bloat. PGR is a good example. PGR definitely has stat bloat. Nowhere near as bad as this game, but you know, if you're running like Generation 1 characters on those new bosses that they added, they're designed for the new characters. You're running the old ones, it takes forever. Or if you're playing a team like the Dark Team, which is very underpowered currently, like, it's going to take forever. But that's still different from how it works here. You don't have any kind of means of, you know, countering that. It's just, it's going to take long no matter how well you build, how long you play the game. Which goes against the power fantasy of a roguelike. You're supposed to get the power fantasy of, you know, an ARPG, but it takes like 30 minutes instead of 50 to 100 hours. This game's kind of really going against that, which is very strange. I don't quite understand it. That's the whole point of these games. They're supposed to be like arcade games. You get a satisfying experience and you play for like a short period of time, and it's short enough that you want to go back in. But I'm pretty sure if I did that 90-minute run fighting those bosses, I would just like not want to play this game for like a week. Oh well. Game's still fun. I just don't get any fun or accomplishment out of doing challenges like that in video games. It's not skill, it's just patience. It's just a lot of patience. How much patience do you have? There is a little bit of skill, but it's mostly willpower. Fight a boss for that long. What's up, man? Hello. I need 3 more brave generals. I think that's manageable. Let's see here. What do we got now? Yeah, I'll take this actually. It's the only thing in here that's worth it. What am I at right now? 1231 attack, and I've got another 40% from him. What else do I have? Yeah, 2 more Slay for another 30%. So I can get another 70%. So I need two Slay and 3 Brave General. It's going to be a fat attack boost. It's definitely possible with my current resources.
ね出ちゃダメ。
炎よ前。援護しよう。炎よ前。炎よ前。
Oh, good. That's not worth using here, though. I'm gonna go ahead and go for the Slay.
私の好きにやるわ。
Let's see here. I need 1 more Slay and 3 Brave General. Giving that game another shot. Yeah, the game is okay. It's okay. It's not as bad as everyone says it is. But it's also not great. It's not gonna be at the top of anyone's tier lists. Unless it's some clickbait YouTuber that's going for a really bad take to get people to comment, which is a thing now. You make a tier list and you say like DMC 2 is the best DMC game, which nobody who's sane would ever say that. But it gets people to comment. It gets engagement. Like, no one's gonna put Muso Stars at their top of the tier list. But it's playable. I need a Slay and Brave General. So I'll just take that for now. That's a cool 30% attack. Actually, who else is here? Yeah, I'm sure Abyss has increased interest in the older games. It's just the strange thing is that the older games are like double the price of this. This game's for sale on like $15 on Humble Bundle right now. Despite my grievances with this game, $15 for this is a steal. By the time it gets to the point I'm at where it's starting to get tiresome and not fun. I mean, I already got 50 hours out of this game. But then, like, if they're planning for it to increase interest in the older titles, you need to heavily discount them. Because they're sure as hell not doing that. Oh, wow.
戦場の風を変えよう。
It's weird that he's not Brave General. He literally soloed the Wei army at Chirbi. How is he not Brave General? That goes against the lore. That completely goes against the lore. How is he not Brave General? That makes zero sense. He basically gaslit all his friends to thinking that he was... gaslit all his friends to believing that he betrayed them when it was really to mess with Wei and initiate the fire attack. But he's not Brave General in this game for some reason. It's like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. Especially because this came out after Origins. That's when it goes live. Will I be streaming at that time? I don't want to make any promises. My sleep schedule is all kinds of jacked. But I'm planning to be on. The plan is to be on beforehand. The plan is to be on beforehand and play Kiborg. Maybe not specifically right at 7, but whenever I wake up and feel presentable. And then go until Towerborne. And probably take a break for lunch. That's the plan, but I don't want people to count on that happening. Sometimes I can't wake up, especially because of the medication that I'm on. I am on medication that makes me very drowsy after I take it. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to commit to that, but I might. I don't really like to have a schedule, to be honest with you. I kind of like to just stream when I want, but generally, if there's something interesting going on, like a new game or an update for something like this that already exists, usually you can count on me being on. And if it's a game like Astral Ascent, which is getting the update on the 30th, that I can play over at my part-time job, then you can pretty much assume that I'm going to be doing that too. That's already going to be the major kitty-sitting stream game, probably the next week. It really just depends on what I'm playing and what's going on. I don't like to commit to a schedule. That's why I have that section in my Discord to give you guys the situation so you can decide if you want to come by or not. It's actually not very good to have a schedule when you're at my level of viewership. You know, a couple dozen people on a really good day, like a new Muso game comes out or something. That's how people get burnt out. They treat it like a job when it's like not at that point yet. The videos make way more revenue than the streams outside of the much appreciated but uncommon donation. I just stream to talk to people, and you know, if there's something interesting going on, I'll show myself doing it, provided I'm not under an embargo. Like I'm under an embargo for Kiborg. That's kind of cut into stream time a little bit. Yeah, don't. It's like two really bad things you can do when you start streaming. Is setting a very strict schedule like it's your job when you have like my level of viewership, and then like buying a really expensive computer when your channel isn't making any money. Like, those are some of the worst things you can do. Like, don't do that. You invest when you have some semblance of viewership. Not before then. I need a brave general. There we go. That's a cool 90% attack just from getting him, and he's fire. That's a huge buff. Yeah, I'm planning to be on for Towerborne, but depends on what my body says. Body may say no. May say no, you're too tired. IRL stamina bar is depleted. I'll be on when I'm on. I'm pretty sure you're in the I know you're in the Discord, but you're in the stream notifications group, right? The role. Yeah, just look for the ping. I'll try to go to bed earlier tonight. Go look at my Discord. I made a Towerborne channel because I make channels for all the games I'm currently playing or are getting updates. I posted some combo videos in there. They're not mine. They're from the Towerborne Discord. And it looks like a pretty big improvement. It was already a good game before. Looks even better now. Well, the plan is to be on for Kiborg when the video premieres, but I'm not committing to it. Like I said, don't ever set strict schedules for streaming when you're at my level of viewership. Don't do it. You got a couple dozen people that are watching regularly. Pretty much any time that they can be on. That's when you do that. Don't do it when you're at my level of viewership. Easy way to burn out. Kind of have a half schedule because of the part-time job that I have. I'm sitting there with the cats, I might as well stream. But it still depends on what I'm playing. Like I was playing Kazan over there, and obviously can't stream that game. Be a laggy mess. I doubt I can stream Towerborne. Towerborne does run pretty well on deck, actually, but I think it does tax a little bit too much. I wouldn't count on me streaming over there that much if I really vibe with the new update.
参ります。俺が出るよ。炎よ前へ。
Oh, I didn't see him. Well, there's another 40% attack. He had another 40%. Hell yeah. Alright, he's getting the boot. Wait. He doesn't have the Takeda emblem, I just realized. This is when he's, Hey, Sanada and Toyotomi. That was a mistake. Made a minor error. Let's see here. I've seen people fall for those scams. They're like technical scams where they buy those content creator PCs that are pre-built and then they get burnt out because the reality is it's really hard to make your money back doing stuff like that. I started this channel with nothing. I had literally nothing. I had my mom's hand-me-down computer and a DVD recorder my friend bought me for $40 at Best Buy in the holiday season. That's all I had. And a DVD recorder. So we're looking at like a $100 budget. I really cringe when people spend that much starting out. I'm like, that's just setting too high expectations for yourself for something that's mostly luck, to be honest. It's luck or selling your soul. are the main ways to make that investment back guaranteed. The only guaranteed way is to make clickbait. That's like the only way. Or get lucky. I don't know if you want to risk getting lucky when you spend like $2,000 in a computer. I can barely pay my bill on this computer, but you know, I am paying it off slowly. Got another couple months to go. Well, yeah, if I was starting as a content creator right now, I definitely would not. I would not spend that level of money. Real quick way to burn yourself out. I don't need any more flame, actually. Let's go for vigor. Yeah, it's an extra 50% attack. It's also assuming the Towerborne servers are even up. It's an online game, always online, so that's the other reason why I didn't want to make a big deal out of playing that game at launch. You know how that can go. I've had multiple games, people get sponsored to play it, online games, and then the server doesn't work. So you got people staring at a login screen while they're being paid to play it. I'm obviously not sponsored, but I'd like to avoid that if possible. If it works and I'm up, I'll play it. That's about as far as I'm willing to commit. Infamous Wayfinder sponsored streams. And the game didn't work like the whole day. So you had people, content creators, shackled to that login screen because they're getting paid to play a game that doesn't work. And honestly would be very apprehensive to taking even for something like Towerborne, which is like a game that I'm obviously already playing it without being sponsored. I would still be apprehensive to take a sponsorship for that because there's always such a high chance the server won't work. Like Diablo 4 was another example. It's down for like a whole day. And never take the day off for an online game release. Never do that. You're better off going to work. Seriously. It doesn't matter how much you hate your job. Because I can tell you, most of the time what's going to happen is you take the day off, you know, you get yourself a big pizza, you get yourself some drinks, and you're ready for like a hardcore gaming session. And what ends up happening, the game is down for hours. He comes back up at like 1 in the morning. It's like, great, well, I have work. Work or school or whatever other responsibility. Like, you wasted your whole day. You could have made money. I had to explain this to my neighbor in very explicit detail because she's not a gamer. When New Genesis came out, I told her the game was coming out. She's like, oh, do you want the day off? I could feed the cats. I told her, no, it's going to be down the whole day. I was right. That shit did not work. I went to my job and made money. Never take the day off for a game like that. While it's more important. It doesn't have anything to do with New Genesis as a game. It's the concept of thinking that taking a day off for an online game launch is a good idea. It never is. Very rare for a game to work at launch. I mean, that goes for single-player games as well. So many broken single-player games coming out. But especially for online games. Especially for online games, just don't do it. She didn't really understand that, though. Like, don't you want to play the game? Like, it's gonna be down the whole day. I'd rather be here and make money. hang out with the cats. Something productive.
炎よ前へ一息に飲み込め
Productive and good for my mental health because the cats like me. I'm gonna get that level of enrichment from a login screen.
これにより 出番風を変えるか
A lot of people did that for Diablo 4. I'm like, when are people gonna learn? Even if you have the day off, not by choice, you know, like it's your time to take the day off, like just play something else. Don't even try. You're setting yourself up for disappointment. Yeah, sure, we'll save that one. That Wayfinder sponsored segment was so funny. You know, people complain about the supposed streamer servers that games have where, you know, they get put in a different queue because they're meant to promote the game. I'm like, you know, I think they actually should do that. And obviously I'm not at a level of streamer to even hope of ever getting an opportunity like that, but I think that is the better alternative to paying people substantial amounts of money to have them stare at a login screen. Like, that just makes the game look bad already. It doesn't matter how good or bad the game is. If people can't even see it when they're spending time watching the streams. I honestly think they should do streamer clients, at least for like launches like that, where they're going to have like the most eyes on the game and you know, they're doing sponsorships. And like if you have a couple hundred to at least 1,000 viewers, it's a pretty significant amount of money. I really think they should do that. As a fellow streamer, I may be a small streamer, but that's just gotta suck, man. Because you can't do what everybody else is doing and just play something else. Like sitting at the Diablo 4 login screen while you're being paid like a significant amount of money to play it, but you're also like shackled to it because of the sponsorship. That's got to be really painful. Well, that's different. That's an offline game. It's also a portable game, so it's not going to be broken. I think it can actually be worse in some ways to take it off for like a single player game like Kazan, because it may take them weeks to fix it. You might be waiting a very long time. In that case, I would like look for benchmark videos from people that have similar computers, and then make the decision if it's worth taking a day off or not. Because most of the time it isn't. Like, I'll take off for Lost Soul Aside. I'll take the day off for that. I mean, assuming that it works. If it doesn't work, then I'm just going to tell my neighbor I'm just going to work tonight. It depends. Very well may be a bad PC port. You won't know until it comes out. But taking time off for a single-player game on PC can be a real crapshoot too. Like, yeah, maybe it'll work. Maybe if you have like somebody who's under embargo that you know in person, that will tell you like, hey, it works fine on my rig. Maybe do that. But it's still a huge risk. Wait, let's see. I feel like doing Kazan or something else. Let's see here. Let me see if I still have that screenshot. Hold on. Here we go. I found it. Here. Oh, man. This is what I'm talking about right here. Give me a sec. Let me put it up. This is everything wrong with being a streamer right here. This is like your worst nightmare as a streamer. Look at this. Approximate wait time 4 hours and 46 minutes. You gotta think about how bad this looks when somebody's paid to play it. When it's just like somebody like me, you know, if I had been playing the game at launch, I would just like stop playing it and just switch games to not have dead air. But he's shackled. This person is shackled to the game because it's a sponsored segment. He can't play it. He got to stare at the queue screen for like 3 hours. Yeah, that's worst nightmare right there. They did like a Sengoku Basara roguelike gacha game or something with tag combos, and they gave me like a $3,000 sponsorship for it. I'd still be skeptical to take it, even though that aligns with my my integrity of only taking deals for stuff I would use without the money. I would be very apprehensive. What if that Basara service game was incredibly popular and the queue time was like 10 hours? Let's sit there and look at the login screen. Can't play anything else. Yeah, that game's launch was a disaster. That's why I think stream clients... I don't know if any games actually do streamer servers or clients, but I think at least for the launch period, it's worth doing that for any hates that you may get for giving streamers privilege, because that's the alternative. The alternative is paying people to stare at a screen, which is, I don't know about you, but that doesn't really give me a lot of incentive to go buy the game, right? There's like thousands of other games I could play that just work. I'm not going to go spend $40 to $70 on the game when you're in a login queue for 7 hours. All right, let's get back on track here. Yeah, pretty much anybody who got sponsored for that game was not actually able to play it. All of them, like, I wish I had the screenshots of the category for that game. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. You guys are gonna laugh so hard at this. Here you go. Here you go. Here's another reason to not skip on going to work when an online game comes out. Here you go. Look at this. Look at this. Somebody in the corner says, "We got in." Just kidding, back in the queue. There's like 5 people actually in-game. Everybody else is stuck at the login screen. Oh, man. Alright, let's get a game going here. Yeah, a lot of viewers will complain if there's like a streamer client or they assume that there's one. I'm like, I really think it's the lesser of two evils. I don't know if any games actually do that, though. Well, Lubu's been a combo bag for a very long time. They only made him a legit. Last time he was a legitimate threat before Origins was the PS2 games, and even then, that's on a case-to-case basis because you could just combo him to death in the Orochi games. Not an entirely new thing. But yeah, that game has some cool characters. Kind of wish they had made it into Orochi. I don't know if I really care about the achievements in this. I'm leaning towards no, because I have to get all the soul stones, and that's boring, busy work. I'd rather just use Steam Achievement Manager. Let's just start New Game Plus. We'll play New Game Double Plus for a little bit. Yeah, I don't care about the achievements. Unfun achievements, I do not care.
Kazan, they come. Now you too will hear the memories of the dead.
Warriors All-Stars just came out at a time when people were unhappy with Muso games. Samurai Warriors 4-2 was around that time, and Spirit of Sanada as well. Spirit of Sanada situation just sucks because it actually is a good game, but you know, they already made like 3 other games in that series before that, and people were just really tired of it. Bus 4-2 was, like, that actually is one of the worst Muso games. In terms of, content to money value, really bad. I don't know why they made that. And then they made Empires after that. And then after that was, Spirit of Sanada, so they just made too many games in that family. People were very burnt out and tired. So Muso Stars came out and didn't have a lot of characters people wanted, and there was a lot of skepticism over Dynasty Warriors 9 being a good game with open world, which turned out to be true. Well, Teppen is a cheap card game, and they just use it to they use it as a retirement home for their old good franchises, like Mega Man X, Mega Man 0, God Hand, Basara, Final Fight, all the stuff that's better than Monster Hunter and Resident Evil. It's like a retirement home, assisted living for old franchises that don't get love anymore. That's all it is. I see those characters in that game, and I get insanely depressed. Like, at least remaster the old games, please. Is that so much to ask? Apparently it is too much to ask. 20th anniversary of Basara's this year. 20th anniversary. What are they gonna do for it? Another stage play and merchandise. That's all they're gonna do. Tell you that right now. 15th anniversary is any indication. I do not expect anything of value. Nah, that game sucks. We don't need that game back. They should give us 4. Short answer is very stripped down. It's actually very similar to Samurai Warriors 4-2. It's not like an entirely terrible game, but for the price that it costs, it was very stripped down. Like, they took out the tag mode. They took out the tag mode, so the gameplay depth is literally cut in half. It's more of a story game, and for that purpose it's fine. If that's your thing, which honestly is, most people aren't super into the combat. For that purpose it's fine, but it was like a full-priced game, and it only had like a couple hours of content. The gear system got removed. The tag system got removed. There's a lot of really crappy minigames in the campaign. The only good thing about it is the new movesets are fun. Pretty much everybody agrees the new movesets. The new characters are fun. They did have 6 new movesets in the game that aren't in 4, but everything else about it is a major downgrade. It just doesn't have much content. A lot of people who like Basara hardcore don't like Koei Tecmo games and vice versa, but Spirit of Sanada is objectively a better game. You're getting a better value for your money. There's way more content. It's more of a fully fleshed out product, instead of feeling like something that was rushed out, which it totally was. There was a TV special about Yukimura's life going on in Japan. That's why we got 2 games about his life within a couple months of each other. But Koei's game obviously had like way more time put into it. I don't think anybody can deny that. It's cut down gameplay-wise, RPG element-wise, overall content-wise, literally in every way. I mean, it's cool that they had the Bloody Palace, but it felt like a sick joke because there was no tagging anymore. So they gave people what they wanted, which was... They gave people what they wanted, which was a mode where you can just fight without all the gimmicks, but then they take out tagging, so it feels hollow. I don't know why the hell they took out tagging. There was nothing in that game to warrant taking it out. Very weird decision. I did play the game at launch, but I hopped off it really quick. I played it for like a week. Spending even a week on that game is already approaching hyperfixation territory. It doesn't have a week worth of content. Basara 4 has like hours and hours and hours of content. There is so much content in that game. The fact that you can get that game for like 20 bucks on sale or free if you get it on emulator is nuts. It's pretty much the only non-Koei Muso game that has that level of content. Like, Muso games that aren't made by the main company, it's actually very similar to how it works with Souls games like this. Like, they do things that are better, but... They do things that are better, but they can't compete with the level of content as the main company. Like, for example, you know, most Souls games... They have very little content. I mean, this game and all the Team Ninja Souls-likes are like the only ones that get close to FromSoft content. Like Basara, the Basara series is the only one that's not made by Koei Tecmo that even comes close to having that much content. So it was very weird for them to drop another game in the Basara series that has a pathetic amount of content. And that's like the main problem. They were an honest competitor, they really were. They were the only one that gave you like that level of content. But just didn't keep it up. Really didn't. I think a lot of people were expecting it to be on that par, but it wasn't. That's not my experience. It hasn't been crashing for me, but I could be wrong. Yeah, well, they set up a standard for actually being able to compete with Koei Tecmo in terms of having the level of content that their games do. Yeah, Dynasty Warriors 8 was a new game, a relatively recent game at the time, and that game had like 90 characters and nobody was a clone. They had so many maps, they had so many music tracks, a whole two extra modes to play. There was so much stuff in that game, and like Basara came out like a year later. Actually, yeah, it was a year later, and that game actually competed. It didn't have as many characters, but they're far more in depth. It had an RPG system, tons of maps, you know, unique items and stuff for everybody. Lots of cutscenes, lots of story modes for the people that are into that kind of thing. There was so much stuff in that game, and you know, then they come out with Yukimura Den, and it's got none of that. All of that is gone. It's a crap value for what else you had to play in that time period. But yeah, this game is very similar to Basara because it's like one of the only competing Souls-likes that's not from FromSoft that can actually, for the most part, compete with the level of content that those games have, which is always a problem. At the same time, it also doesn't, because this game is heavily inspired by Nioh. It takes way more inspiration from Nioh than Souls games, than FromSoft games, outside of stuff that's standard to the genre, like the checkpoint that heals you and gives you your heals back, but makes everything respawn. Like, all that stuff is you know, just standard for the genre. But this game plays more like Neo. It kind of competes on the level of content that it has, but it also doesn't, because it only has 3 weapons. That's like the thing that really sucks about this game, is you only have 3 weapons. There's no flash attack, there's no key pulse. It's very strange to not have those in the game. I don't quite understand why. The mechanical depth is on par, but there's not anywhere near as many movesets, weapon types, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it kind of is like Bazaar, where it's like somebody unproven is getting into something type of game that is pretty much dominated by one studio. That's pretty much what this game is. That's what Bazaar was. Bazaar 1 definitely did not compete with... The game definitely did not compete with any of the Muso games that were available. Actually, they never really competed in terms of character amount. Pretty much never. There are 45 playable movesets in Yukimura Den, compared to about 90 for Dynasty Warriors 8 XL. Actually, if you count Empires, it's probably more like 95, 96. Hopefully they'll add some more weapon types to the game. Alright, let's go ahead and hop on PGR. But yeah, Yukimura Den is just a very stripped down game. I mean, it's still better than pretty much all the Muso games that aren't made by Koei or Capcom. But the asking price for it and the level of content was very low. Very lopsided, I guess would be a better word for it. You have to look at it this way. If you cared about story and stuff, it was more like a singular Call of Duty level campaign. It wasn't like a story mode for everybody with unique dialogue and endings. It was only for one character. So story-wise, if you're into the lore and the character interactions and stuff, it was a major downgrade. And then gameplay-wise, you know, the tagging is gone. You couldn't really make builds anymore. They had that style system, but it just paled in comparison. The tagging was gone as well, so a huge chunk of the combat depth was just deleted. And it was like a 8,000 yen game. So it just didn't please anybody. It's one of those games that please literally no one. Whether you're hardcore combat nut or you just like the more casual aspects of the games, which is the character designs and the interactions, the stories, all that got gutted too. So when you consider how much that game cost compared to Sumeragi, it's a rip-off. It's sad. A lot of people don't even consider that game to be the last game. A lot of people consider Sumeragi to be the last game. I'm like, yeah, if they're never going to make another one, that's a better stopping point than Yukimura Den, which felt very half-finished. Yeah, I don't expect anything from the anniversary. It's the 20th anniversary this year. They're not going to do anything. I already know they're not going to do anything. I'd be shocked if they even do the bare minimum of effort, which would be Switch 2 ports. Because they didn't do that last time. They didn't do that for the 15th anniversary. I guess it could be argued maybe they felt like the Switch couldn't do it. I'm pretty sure it could have. And maybe they thought that it was going to take more effort than it was worth. Generally, especially with Capcom, they do what's called the Capcom test, where they bring back an ancient game that like only people that already knew about it are going to be interested in, and then they expect it to sell like 12 billion copies, and then when it doesn't, they think that nobody has interest, so they kill the franchise. That's the other outcome we could get too, which is you guys didn't buy 8 million copies of like 10-year-old Basari games, so there's no interest. We're never gonna make one again. Very real possibility. I would be shocked if they put it on Switch 2. I mean, it's possible, but I'd say it's implausible that they will bother to do that. It would show that they at least care about doing something with the game side of the brand, but I don't know. I wouldn't get my hopes up. Like I said last anniversary, they're not even wanting to do that. That really tells you the franchise is dead, because look at the Switch 2 lineup. It's like 75% games that are already on PC. And even if you want to play them portable, you can already do that on Steam Deck. And the systems are in pretty similar levels of power. It's not going to be much better or worse on Steam Deck compared to Switch. Like, they could very easily port that game and make easy money. We'll see. Or they'll announce another gacha that will shut down in a year. Hello.
次に向かうわよ。この勝利が終幕ではないわ。
Shin Gundam Muso was another one I'm legitimately baffled they have not brought back. The game had a very short lifespan. When you think about it, that game had the shortest lifespan of any modern Muso game, because it was like really late era PS3 game, and then the PS4 had no backwards compatibility, and they didn't even make a PS4 version for it. Very few people played it. It had a very short lifespan when you think about it. Actually, I think the PS4 was already out when that game got released. And they didn't do any kind of upgrade version or anything. I don't know how they haven't brought that back either. Money on the table. Companies don't always do things that make sense. Samurai Warriors 5 is a hot mess. A reboot where they're like everybody is a clone is just incredibly stupid. How is it a reboot if everybody's a clone? And they have 15 movesets and like 40 characters. They started making NPCs playable, which felt like an act of desperation. Like, why do they need to be playable if they don't have unique movesets? You're just giving people more reason to complain. The combat system was jank, messed up. The fact that you couldn't juggle anything consistently unless you're playing on easy mode was really stupid. It was fun to play in small doses, but it was kind of like Yuki Muraden. There just wasn't a whole lot there, especially compared to the previous games where they had no clones and way more modes and stuff. It just couldn't compete. Companies started to be their own worst competitor. That's pretty much what it was. Basara and Samurai Warriors at that time were literally competing with themselves. They made new games, but they were worse than the previous one in every way. It ended up killing both franchises. I don't know what possessed them to make a reboot and then like have that large of a roster. Obviously people are going to complain. It's not exciting to unlock somebody and they play the same. You would think that with a reboot you would free yourself of that, right? That's pretty much what Basara 3 was. That's the weird thing. That game was a much better reboot than Samurai Warriors 5 was. And granted, they got a lot of flack for cutting so many characters, but it was objectively better. It's such a better reboot than Samurai Warriors because they cut the roster dramatically, but they greatly improved the combat. And the only way that they could do that was by cutting the roster. They eventually, with time, added almost everybody back. At the time, it definitely was looked down on that they did that, but it ended up being a blessing in disguise. But somehow, they didn't... The team that was on that game didn't take that into consideration. Like, don't have, like, 50 characters if they're all the same. Why didn't they just cut it down and, like, maybe have, like, a couple clones tops, like 4 or 5, no more than that. Not have 30. People have always complained about clones, and their solution, the response in that game was to make it worse than it's ever been. Some of the movesets weren't even very good either. There were some that were clearly better than others, so it had the same problem that a lot of the Musou games, the clone movesets have, where there's one that's like so much better. There's a handful that are so much better. And since everybody plays the same, outside of just wanting to have some variety, there's no reason to ever use them. Samurai Warriors 5 was totally like that. That game was that to a T. That was the epitome of clone moveset problems. He had the Naginata in that game, which seemed fun on paper, with having that follow-up where you could go in the air and do the air combos and the Helmbreaker. That sounded fun on paper, but the way that the combat worked, they just teched out of the combo every time, so that weapon was useless. The slow weapons were pretty bad. He had ones like the ninja sword, the ninjato. That was like the most OP weapon. And like, since everybody's a clone, it's like, well, you might as well just use that on everybody, right? There's no reason to use anyone else. Some people like to really downplay how bad clones are in Musou games, but I can definitely tell you there is some truth to that. I do think people complain about it too much. I would rather have like 15 really good fleshed out unique movesets like Basara 3 than have 80 and most of them suck. But there is a really bad downside to clones as well, which is they don't even make the movesets equally. Some of them really suck. So when you have like so few to spread across so many characters, and then most of them aren't even fun to use, or they're not even effective, that's a problem too. I think the lesser of two evils is cutting the roster dramatically and adding everybody back over time, which is what they did with Basara. But with Samurai Warriors 5, they had all the clones and no movesets, and then they had a massively overly inflated roster, which is just the worst of both worlds. I don't know what possessed them to think that was a good idea. They could have easily taken those 15 movesets and just take, like, the most plot-relevant characters, like, Nobunaga and everybody related to him, and then, like, Ieyasu and Hideyoshi, and then, like, maybe a couple others on the side, and just assign those 15 movesets to them, and everybody else is a unique NPC. That would have made the game go over a lot better with people. The combat was also a mess, which is not something you hear people talk about. A lot of people don't know that game is legit fun on easy mode. If you play that game on easy mode and you nerf your damage, it actually is a really fun game. But the way that it works in that game is the harder the difficulty, the higher chance of them teching out. So every time that you put somebody in hit stun in that game, there's a chance that they'll just walk out of it, which is really dumb. They're really trying to prevent style play, but then for some reason you put it on easy and they don't tech out like ever. Normal is somewhat playable, but you still have that gotcha pull hit stun like Ninja Gaiden bosses that doesn't feel good. But playing the game on easy is actually fun. I'll be the first to admit that. But it's got other problems. I don't know, man. If I had the budget for like 15, 20 movesets, I would not add double that in clones. That's just like, why would you do that? You're drawing attention to the problem. Could easily have cut it down to one character per moveset and just have a 15 character roster. That would have been so much better. That just looks bad no matter how you look at it, whether you're a casual player or you're a combat nut like I am. It looks bad for both sides. Because it's like, you have 15 movesets, they're not created equally, only a couple of them are fun to use. You have the hit stun problem, and then you have this massive roster, and because there's 15 movesets and like almost 50 characters, the chance of your favorite character having a unique moveset is slim to none. That looks bad too, whether you're a combat nut like I am, or you're just a regular person that just, wants to watch the cutscenes, play with your favorite character, and uninstall. I don't know what the hell they were thinking with that game. You shouldn't draw attention to your flaws. I mean, that's just kind of a life lesson in the first place, but especially when you're selling a $60 video game. Like, I can understand if they weren't given the budget or the time or the resources to make everybody unique, but then, like, why have so many characters? Because Basara 3 could have easily done that as well, but they were smart, and they knew that they couldn't put everybody back and completely redo the combat system at the same time. So they cut the roster in like half, but everybody was unique. The combat got a massive overhaul and became some of the best combat in the genre, still is. And then to make things better, over the next couple games, they did add almost everybody back. They didn't get everybody back, but they got the vast majority of them. There were a couple that didn't make the cut, but most of them did come back. And when they came back, they were fully revamped as well. Some of them had a new design. Some of them had you know, completely different gameplay. But yeah, that's that game in a nutshell. It is fun. Actually, I'll show it right now. Because I'm only going to do like one more game tonight. We'll make the last game Samurai Warriors 5. How about that? We'll make the last game Samurai Warriors 5. That'll be the last game for tonight. So I'm going to attempt to get up for Towerborne and everything in the morning. So I'll go ahead and I'll show it. So you guys can get a little idea of it. I still have it installed for some reason. Alright, we'll go ahead and do that. End the stream. It's compiling shaders, hold on. There we go. Story-wise, I had a really big problem with this game. Where do I show him?
Ah, いらっしゃい。またのお越しを。
I don't know where to... He looks cool. He looks cool as a young guy. But when they do the time skip, he just looks like everybody else. He looks like the old one. I get that, like, the design with the ponytail and the beard is, like, iconic with Nobunaga, even outside of Samurai Warriors, but, like, make him look different. The time skip for him actually looked different. And his design looks... Because his design when he's older looks pretty cool, too. But, it felt like they were too scared to make him look different. I'm like, he looks like that in every piece of media, pretty much. Like TV shows, books, Nobunaga's ambition. Why make him look the same? He looks almost indistinguishable from the old one. Alright, so let's go ahead and I'll show how I set this up. So I made these weapons here with max attack speed, and then I lowered my the attack stat. Like, you lower your attack to, like, B rank, so that you can actually combo stuff. Yeah, like this one right here. Yeah, so if you put it on easy, they do not tech out of combos. We're gonna play as the best thing about this game is him. He finally got a brother in Muso, and he's in, like, the worst game. We're gonna play as the brother. He's just such a sick design, too. I really love his design. I was very happy when they announced him. He's undeniably the coolest thing about this game. It sucks that he doesn't have a unique moveset, but I mean, I always wanted him to be playable in something. It's really cool. I hope they put him in Abyss. I mean, just look at him, man. He looks fucking awesome. This is like one of the coolest Yasuke designs I've seen in anything. Awesome. I actually like Ieyasu's design as well. I like a lot of the new redesigns, how they look. Like, see, I made this weapon here. It's just got minimal attack speed. Or minimal attack. So you can actually combo stuff. It's a lot better than the Assassin's Creed design. They finally put a black man in a Musou game. That's why this game, you can't ever say it's bad. They finally put a black man in a Musou game. I'm happy with that. And yeah, I'll show how this works.
この俺と力比べをしようってのか。ごめんなさい。
Yeah, so basically all the stuff I'm doing right now, you can't do on playing on the harder difficulties. They'll tech out at random. Gotcha pull, hit stun. Yeah, it's a little bit of an idea of what's possible. I'm very, very rusty, but yeah, you can do some fun stuff in this game. Just have to play on easy. There you go. You get the idea. It actually is a pretty fun combo game, but you have to play it on easy, which is the stupidest design. I forgot to mention, by the way, the thing that makes it even less worth playing on harder difficulties, the drop quality does not increase when you play on harder difficulties. You get the same drop quality, if I remember correctly, I might be wrong. You get the same drop quality on every difficulty. So if you want to play the game, just play it on easy. If you can get it on sale, it's fun. It's a fun combo game. It's not as good as Orochi. You can do some fun stuff in it, but you have to intentionally nerf your damage and play on easy. Otherwise, it's gotcha pull hit stun city. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. I made a video about it, but the algorithm interest in that game had already evaporated by the time I found that out. Yeah, you can find some videos about it. If you search for Samurai Warriors 5, I have a video that goes into it in depth. Yeah. There is no reason to play that game on a hard mode. It doesn't give you any rewards, and they tech out of combos randomly, so it's the worst of both worlds. There definitely are games like that sometimes. It's like there's no reason to ever go above normal. Samurai Warriors 5 is definitely one of those games. The game is actively less fun on the harder difficulties, and there's like no purpose. There's no purpose to playing on the hard difficulty. It sucks the fun out of the game. It's exactly like Warriors Abyss. You play that on the hardest difficulty, it's not fun. Because the excitement of ramping up your character and getting powerful is gone. Because the bosses have so much health. You can kill things quickly on the hardest difficulty in Samurai Warriors 5. That's the main difference between that and Abyss. But style play-wise, it's really bunk. Because they just tech out constantly. Yeah, that's not the game to play if you want to play on hard mode. Oh, well, East games are always like that, though. Nightmare difficulty is always just HP sponges. I never found those modes to be very fun. It's just inflating the stats. It doesn't change anything. It's cool that you can do it from a fresh file, and it's not intended for New Game Plus, which I think is cool, but other than that, I don't bother with stuff like that. Farthest I'll go on those games is like hard. I did East 10 on hard, and it was completely manageable. The game had really good boss fights, but I didn't care to do it on Inferno. Like, this is just HP Sponge City. No, it doesn't help that East combat is so one-dimensional with flash guarding and spamming R1s over and over. I don't really find the gameplay loop that fun to begin with. So doing that with that one-dimensional combat is not my idea of fun. Anyway, I'm gonna go because I'm gonna attempt to get up for the DMC beta stream. Should be starting very soon, and then in the morning we'll be doing some Kiborg. We're gonna combo Kiborg into Towerborne. And like I said, if Towerborne is a new Genesis situation, then we'll just play more Kiborg. So we got a good substitute. You're not going to be staring at a server screen. I mean, the development team for that game is really awesome. I want them to succeed, but they're putting the game on Game Pass, so I don't know how stable the servers are going to be. I guess we'll find out. It's in like 8 hours. So I'll see you guys then. Is Kiborg any good? That's a good idea, Din. Let me put that on a premiere. I'm under embargo right now, but I do have a video going up. Let me go ahead and make that a premiere really quick before I go. And go ahead and do that. I think I can change it to a premiere. There we go. Alright, I got an overview here that should answer all your questions. Currently under embargo, so it'll be a little hush-hush. But yeah, click on that. That should take you to it. You can set that to be on your bookmark or whatever. Alright. Yeah, go ahead and click the notification on that. I may not be awake for it. I can't guarantee that I'll be in chat, but I'll go ahead and I'll post this in my Discord too. So we'll be playing that in the morning, and then Towerborne, if it works. I'll see you guys later. Good night, everybody. But yeah, the Dante and Virgil footage from the beta for PGR should be going up soon, so I don't know if I'm going to stay up for that. I might just go to bed. I might just go watch the VOD later, maybe when I'm up. But yeah, lots of exciting things happening today. Hope to see you guys in the morning.